DC's The Flash. Enough said. So we're going to talk about it. Welcome back, Geek Variants. Today we are talking about DC's The Flash, and this movie has been a long time coming. It's been a big setup. We got a whole new kind of revamp kind of coming in for James Gunn's DC universe and how we're going to set up everything. So if you want to hear all the stuff we have to say and all the stuff we got to say about it in the future, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, tune in, notifications on, so you'll get, the heads up whenever we drop something new. So without further ado, we just came back from seeing the Flash movie 2023. This movie definitely sets up for a lot of things, but
Greatness.
also closes off a lot of things
Greatness.
at the same time.
Greatness.
So the movie was pretty epic. So we'll start at the movie was pretty epic for what it was. Like, I didn't know how I was going to compare. I went in with low expectations, and
I went in with no expectations whatsoever.
They still blew it out the water for me. So I was very happy with that. Ezra's acting was on point. I didn't have any issues with that. The costume choices.
You have to separate the actor from his personal life.
Yes.
Because I myself hated Ezra as the Flash in all of the other movies. I did. My mind has now been changed because this shit was epic.
All right. So it's epic. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So first off, we get a taste of just Barry kind of coming in, and of course, what are we going to see first? We're going to see him move. We've already seen him moving before in other movies, but we get a taste of how fast his speed is in the opening scenes of the movie. And immediately what comes to mind is, Flash, Quicksilver.
The comparison that you should never make, because Quicksilver is not even in Flash's speed range. Not even close.
Go ahead and elaborate.
Quicksilver needs to race Jay Garrick. That's his limit. So the scene we're talking about is Alfred contacts Barry.
Spoilers, people. So if you don't already,
100% spoilers. So
all spoilers.
Hey, I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, whatever. Look, this is how fast Barryallen is. So Alfred contacts Barry and tells him he needs his help. And of course, Barry's like, well, why didn't you call Superman? And you look on TV, oh, Superman's overseas fighting people over a volcano or something stupid. Okay, what about this person? Wait, how many people have you contacted before me? And Alfred's like, look, just get to Gotham. I'm gonna patch you into Bruce. And he's like, no, don't. Because of course we know everybody is terrified of Batman. Everybody. So he tells Barry, get your butt to Gotham and help me out. I mean, yeah, of course. Come on. He said, get your butt to Gotham and help me out. So Barry gets to Gotham, and of course, what does Alfred have him doing? Clearing out the citizens. Hey, I need you to, get everybody out because the building is about to collapse. Then we want you to go down and, get the water and the sewage and, clean that up. Of course, Barry's like, oh, I'm just, crowd control for the Justice League. Is that what this is? Okay, whatever. So he begrudgingly does it. But then Alfred says, hey, you need to back up. The building's about to collapse. And as he says that, what happens? The building collapsed. But Barry, thinking he got everybody out, didn't check the top floor, which was a maternity ward full of babies. So, of course, as Barry looks, all of the kids fall out of the window in their bassinets, all of them, and one nurse who's carrying the baby. I mean, this is hilarious because you can see the oh shit in Barry's face, like, what? So, of course, what happens? Barry goes into super beyond Quicksilver's ability mode. And you got to think, everything is happening literally while they're falling, and Flash stops, looks around, assesses the situation. I will say, I do like the fact that they added something on his suit to tell him how much, power he has left if he need to eat. So as he's looking and seeing all these kids falling, you got one that's about to be, flame broiled by an oxygen tank. You got another one about to be crushed by a microwave. I mean, it's just a whole bunch going on. So what does Barry do first? He runs past the first child to get to a vending machine to eat the food. He eats everything in the vending machine. Now, this is while people are falling. I need you to understand how fast this man is actually going. While they're falling, he eats an entire vending machine full of food. saves everybody. You know, the baby that's getting crushed by the microwave, he puts the baby inside the microwave. Then he takes the oxygen tank and aims it toward another baby who's about to get shish kebab by some scalpels. I mean, it's just an epicness, the entire scene. So how does he end this? He runs down the side of the building, gets a gurney, and catches the children and places them gently on the gurney. And then jumps over the gurney to catch a woman that's falling, catch her. And then the dog, they had a little service animal, and they all on the gurney, and this lady is screaming. And of course, what does Barry say? Well, you know, you just went through a traumatic experience. You might want to go see grief counsel and Justice League. We suck at that. Epicness.
I mean, it's on point because you got to remember, and Flash even says this later in the movie about moving people at super speed because a lot of people can't handle it. And you see all that's taken into account. So good on the directors and stuff for make sure it's taken out. He didn't grab the babies and stuff like that and then run down the thing because then they're going to be vomiting, puking all like, no, he literally let them fall and placed them in a position where he can catch all of them without.
And the babies were laughing the entire time. They were laughing.
That was fantastic. All right.
Epicness.
Look, you got Batman being Batman. Batman is just doing Batman things. It's great. It's great to see Ben Affleck back as Batman. He is
best live action Batman ever.
I love him as Batman. Like he is my favorite live action Batman. Like it's him and Keaton are my favorite too. So I'm very happy that I got both of them in this movie, and it's really fantastic. We get a cameo by Wonder Woman,
which I did not know because I don't watch. I don't think anybody knew. I don't watch trailers at all. I heard no. I don't listen to nobody.
Short jump in. She's just there to kind of assist real quick. So it was nice to see a good little comedic moment.
But could you tell it was something going on between them?
Yeah, you could definitely tell.
You could tell Wonder Woman and Batman have been flirting. They've been flirting with each other, something serious.
So
we need some Wonder Babies or something.
Right. We get a look at flashback for Barry and kind of get the backstory. I like the way the backstory was done. Again, we're not going to reiterate everything, but the backstory was done. It was done quickly, but with enough detail to know what's going on. So props to that. Like it wasn't a big, long, drawn out thing.
Right. We didn't need to see the pearls in the alley no more.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we know what was going on with that, and we get a taste of his ability to use the Speed Force because again, it's still a traumatic thing, and talking to his dad, like everything's kind of coming back, and that's what triggers him to run and tap into the Speed Force even more than he already is, and that's where you get the chronosphere and all that kind of stuff going, where he's actually able to see how far. I think he jumps back a day to kind of just see what's going on.
Now, so, one side note, there's a difference between, of course, as we know, graphic novels to animated movies to live action. Major difference between the live action and the animated. In the animated movie, the dad was not around. It was just Barry and his mom. There was no dad. So they did an entirely different story. A thief had broken in and killed his mom. That's what happened in the animated. And this one is stuck more to the novel of the dad got set up. You know, everybody blamed the dad for it. So carry on.
Yeah. So it was really good to see them again set all this stuff up. So we get the different interaction for the mom, which you just mentioned. We actually get a taste while he's kind of tapping in and he's coming to realization. So again, talking with Bruce and talking with Iris, he gets a little bit more, you know, he gets the warning, hey, don't do it. You can kind of mess something up, butterfly effect and all that. And it's like, all right, cool. And
Batman showing he's smarter than you.
Yeah. And of course, Barry doing what Barry is, he's very adamant about saving his mother. So he tries to work around the problem as much as possible without messing anything up. Interaction.
I think his biggest thing is like, no interaction at all. If I do this and they don't see me, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine for that. But he goes and does it. And that's when we get a taste. We see a clip of Dark Flash kind of knocking him out of the chronosphere into an alternate timeline.
Not Black Flash. Let's let y'all know it's not Black Flash. It's another version of Flash. It's like Savitar version.
Yeah, like this one is like really like crystallized looking black purple, like he's on one. So again, he's knocked into the past, and now he's got to figure out what he needs to do. So of course, interacting inadvertently with his family because he thinks that it's his timeline, then he finds out that it's not, and now kind of everything hits the fan, and he's got to figure out what to do. So in the process, he's setting up. We get to see him. We see how Flash got his powers. I like how they showed it because it wasn't like, hey, Flash is getting his powers again. They're showing like the other Flash, his past self, getting the powers and him losing his in the process. So
and that's it. I did watch the trailer when I got home because I want to see what went on, and that was in there. So if we remember the lightning coming through, I'm gonna call him Barry 1 and Barry 2. Our Barry is Barry 1. So the lightning went through Barry 1 and then hit Barry 2, which technically took Barry's powers away and gave him to Barry 2, which is different from all the other ways we've seen Flash get his powers. It's always been the same thing. Struck by the chemicals get on him and get struck by lightning. This one is, he got struck by lightning, but it went through another Flash to give him his powers. So it's a transference instead of the original way that Barry 1 got his powers, which is another main difference in the animated and the live action being two Barrys. And I will say I like how they put Barry 2 in yellow, because Reverse Flash is not in this movie, but he's a major role in the animated version. So I kind of like how it was like Yellow Jacket, yellow. It was a whole bunch of yellow to say,
it was a lot of allusion to that.
Yeah, it was Reverse Flash, which comes along later in the movie. Yeah. That's what I was, thinking.
Yeah, so it set up very well, and of course, with little stupid things being different, Eric Stoltz is Marty McFly instead of Michael J. Fox, and a couple other little just random pop culture references to let you know that, and this is more or less to let you know the timeline is skewed. And as they start to figure it out, they figure out that there's no metahumans, there's no Justice League, and Zod is here to do what Zod did in Man of Steel.
Yeah,
right?
Barry 1 and Barry 2 went back to Barry 2's house, and besides the fact that Barry 2 decided he wanted to play around with his powers and burn his clothes up and it like destroy half the city in like 3 seconds, was pretty fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, it was great. So again, but he's grasping the powers faster.
He wasn't grasping nothing. He was going out there and being foolish. He was I'm fast.
But it's just an illusion to how, like Barry said, it took a while to learn phasing, but of course he got phasing instantly and stuff like that. And I'm not sure because it was already, because it was transferred from one to another. It's like some of that, natural ability come with it, like whatever it took. But it was all a setup. You can see
it was a different level of maturity between the two Barrys. You got new Barry, Barry 2, who don't know what the hell going on, and he's the goofy young Barry. We already know Barry was that way when he was younger. Then you got Barry 1, who's been in the league for a minute, has mastered his powers, and he knows what's going on. But we don't need him to lose the humor, because I like funny Flash.
Yeah, so it's definitely good. But all this eventually seems like, okay, the only one that seemed to be around was Batman. Batman was referenced. So, of course.
because Cyborg
wasn't there, still a football player.
Yeah, he never got, blown up, and the mother box never got attached to him. There was no Aquaman because
never born.
Dad had a wife, I guess, but it wasn't the Queen of Atlantis. Wonder Woman didn't exist. So again, these are other divergence away from the animated movie, because in the animated movie, when he went back to save his mother, one of the major changes was the Atlanteans and the Amazons were at war. And they were destroying the planet. You don't have any Amazons or any Aquaman's folks running around. So that storyline is totally gone. So I kind of wanted to see Mara and Wonder Woman fight, and Mara get decapitated, and Arthur get mad because now Wonder Woman is wearing Mara's helmet as a trophy. So
there's a whole lot of slap in the face.
Woo. But watch the animated movie, but watch this first, then watch the animated. You'll enjoy both of them.
Yes, there's no way you cannot enjoy both of these movies. All right, so they eventually go hunting for Bruce Wayne, and we find a older, grittier Bruce Wayne. Again, I think
still kicking people's butt.
They definitely took reference. He's definitely kicking people's butt, and long hair, don't care, everything. But what I really liked about this scene going to find Bruce Wayne, of course, we get Michael Keaton back as Bruce Wayne, which is absolutely fantastic. But we still show that no matter what universe you're in, Batman is still the master detective, the tactician. Like, he is there to figure stuff out. He wasn't phased at all when it's about multiverse and all that stuff. He's kind of like, okay, well. And
then he started talking and gave him basically the same advice Ben Affleck did. It's like
same thing. His explanation of multiverse, which was, and I think it was a little shot at it was a playful shot at Loki and Endgame stuff, and it talked about the branching timelines. And when it talked about the branching timeline, talking about like, okay, well, you do this at this point in time, and it branches off to create a divergent timeline. Whereas they explain it differently, where you've got two, you got one timeline here, and there's another timeline going this way because something changed at that freaking point. So now the timelines are skewed. So now you got a different past and a different future.
Yep.
So now everything has changed, which is why this Batman here is older than the other one, because again, things were changing in the process. It changes forward, and it's retrocausal was the term that they use. So the fact that he's explained all that was great.
We can't omit the fact how old Bruce beat up non-powered Barry. Oh, yeah. He couldn't touch the Flash, which is basically what would happen if Batman fought the Flash. I love my Batman, as you can see, but he ain't touching Flash. So everything he threw at Barry 2 didn't work, but he was bodying Barry 1. Everything he did, Barry was falling. He was like, yep, hilarious. And this was old Bruce for no reason, just old.
Yeah.
And this dude here, which side are you on? This dude right here fanboyed out so hard when Michael Keaton showed up and started talking.
Yes,
he was jumping around. I was like, come on, dude, for real.
Yes, yeah. I don't care.
He did.
I was happy with that because, again, you saw the old school Batmobile, which I grew up with. I love. It was there. You got the little Joker, little laugh reference in there with the bag. That freaking the bat plane, like things were there. They just excited me, and I was very happy to see.
And again, we got to talk about more major differences in the animated and the live action.
Right, sure.
Yes, you have a different Batman. You have the Michael Keaton Batman, but also you must remember, with Michael Keaton being in here, Joker is dead. There is no Joker. And pretty much, I believe when Michael Keaton killed off the Joker, I think he just went through his rogues gallery and got rid of him. That's just my take on this. I really do think he lived. That's why he made the statement, Gotham is the safest place on earth.
Yes.
There are no criminals in it no more. But in the animated, and I know everybody and their mama wanted Thomas Wayne to be in this movie, but you do not get Thomas Wayne because you have Michael Keaton. The parents still die. In the animated version, Bruce dies. His father becomes Batman, and his mother becomes the Joker. That's just how it is. That would have been epic. I like how they did this one. I'm still going to like the animated better because Thomas Wayne as Batman is probably one of my favorite variants of Batman.
Well,
but that's another difference. I know you like Michael Keaton. I do, but
I think we needed it.
Thomas Wayne didn't show up with the red bat symbol and the red eyes popping 9mm off on people. Come on, dude.
Don't get me wrong. I would have loved it, but I'm glad we told a different story. I don't want you to tell me the same exact story in the comics again on the screen. As much as I love seeing it, and I will see it in all different variations it comes, give me something different. And this is what they did. They skewed it a bit. You get some of that grittiness.
They skewed it a lot. But this is also, we've had in our past conversations, you can change things for the better or you can change things for the worse. Mm-hmm. This was for me, I could actually go with this because the movie overall, it flowed. Because if you'd have brought in Thomas Wayne, then you'd have to explain why Cyborg wasn't there, because in the animated movie, Cyborg is front and center. You got to explain why there's no World War III going on. So they had to make that change because they didn't use that storyline.
Yes.
So I like the change. It's one of the good changes, not like Miss Marvel. Oh, did I say that out loud?
So speaking of some of the changes and stuff, again, we have Kara here instead of Clark. Like I said, we don't have Kal-El. So because of this, again, we still got kind of the same scene. You got the emaciated, version,
which was in the animated version. Yeah, it was exactly the same.
Yeah, she's messed up and stuff, and they managed to get her out of there. But in the process, again, we get this new version, and instead of Superman, we got Supergirl, and it's absolutely fantastic. Like, she looks amazing for her character, her setup, like her look. She looks like she's just angry. Her suit is popping off. Like,
when she was fighting them Russian soldiers. Oh my God, she was bodying everybody. It was like no hold back. It was like Injustice Supergirl killing folks.
She straight up did not care. Like, bodies were flying. And it was fantastic.
Hit this one dude off the top of the building, and he came down after the fight was over.
And that's the thing. We get a testament to how strong she is, because as soon as she got a little bit of sunlight and stuff, she was able to kind of revert that emaciated look she had and fill out and be better and stuff. So and she was solid, and she started. She still had to recharge, but she had enough to handle business.
Way more. And the funny part is when Batman, your favorite Batman, Michael Keaton, was punching somebody, she came out of nowhere and hit the dude, and Batman was like, "What?"
Yeah, she grabbed the bullet and then mushed his face and just like no, like all at the same time. It was great.
She was mad.
Yeah, she was mad. She'd been held captive since she got there. And this is where we get some of the other changes and stuff. So as we go through, and we'll kind of get more into this as we go down, but again, she looks like she was there and she can't find Cal at all. And that's an issue, which in the other way around, again, Cal was there first and then she's supposed to come later.
Right. So for those that don't know, when they introduced Supergirl as the cousin, the way it was going is she is older than Cal. She was technically a teenager when Cal was a baby, and they left at the exact same time. The only problem is Kara's ship got knocked off of course while Cal made it to Earth. So by the time her ship got back on course, Clark was grown. She was still a teenager. That's one of the things that they mentioned in the movie, and I like how they said we left at the same time, and he's my cousin. I don't know where he is. I love the fact that they did her Supergirl outfit, and it reminded you of Henry Cavill. Mm-hmm. I just love that look. I don't think the underwear on the outside is needed. I like the slender look that she had. I like her attitude. I mean, I liked everything about her. I don't know what else we could say about Kara.
No, she was amazing and she was set up. I mean, she just really came through. And even with the other changes that were made to Flash having to get his powers back, that's another part. She played a very important part there because as they escaped with her, Barry One looked at her, was like, I got you.
Yep.
So and later on,
right at him, like, okay.
So later on, when Bruce is helping Barry get his powers back, and just like they did in the animated, they did it twice. The first time it went, but it did not work.
It burned him to a crisp.
He was very injured, 3rd-degree burns, like he was jacked up, and you can see he was jacked up. But when they ran it back the second time, instead of doing it kind of the same way that they did, and him having to save, Thomas Wayne in the process, the way they did it was they took Barry. She flew up with Barry straight to the lightning, straight to the source. And because she knew she could take that hit and let it hit him, so at that, and charge him up, and so at that. So when he came back down,
and what did she say? What did she say when they flew up there?
She said, "I got you." It came full circle. It was great. So once she got back down, then Barry 2 gave him a little tap. It's kind of like a little jump start, and that jump started his healing, and he was back. He just needed time to recover and heal. And during that process, again, it was a setup for the new suit and all that stuff for Barry 2.
Yeah, because Barry 2 gave that suit back because he said it was too tight in the nether. Yeah.
Yeah, so we that's where we get the bat suit turned into the Flash suit.
Hey man, that scene was hilarious when he was chopping off the ears with a fucking pocket knife.
Oh, he was throwing that thing up, trying to get that thing off. So that
I was like, I know we got stuff in the Bat Cave that's better than a pocket knife. I know we do.
But again, is that setup? So you got half the Justice League roughly there. So you got Supergirl, you got Double Flash stuff there, and then you got Batman who says, "You know what? I'm still in. Like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." That was a straight Lego movie.
And guess what? That was another time. This one right here with you on this side, fanboyed.
Yes, because I love the Lego movie. Look, you know how many Legos I got freaking in the background?
Don't do it.
Look at them. All right, like no, they're there. All of freaking Batman is right there. See,
I was waiting for him to giggle in the movie theater. Like, I was waiting for it.
Don't judge me. I have no shame.
I don't care.
So
okay, back to the movie. Stop playing around.
They did it really well, and we really get to set up for that big battle scene. And now this is where I had a few issues because the battle scene was good, but I don't think it was as epic as it could have been.
I agree. My one major thing about this is I usually break movies down in 3 parts: the start, the middle, where I should get my story and all my information, and then the end, which is the battle. I think it fell short for the battle all the way around. I like how Zod came back with my two favorite sidekicks, and they were bodying all the humans, but I don't like it. It was too short. Just my opinion. But it also showed how inexperienced Kara was as being a Supergirl compared to how Superman fought Zod. You could tell he had been Superman for a while and knew how to use all of his powers, while she was pretty much, to me, looking like, yeah, you're a rookie on the fly. Because Zod was beating her at some point. Zod wasn't handling Superman like that. It took 3 of them to handle Superman. So it kind of fell flat a little bit for me.
Yeah, so especially because we find out that Cal died. Like, they found Cal and they killed him. But
it's just like in the comics, but this didn't happen with Zod. It happened with Brainiac. Brainiac was looking for the Codex. That's what they called it. And we find out that it's not in Cal. It was in Kara. So I like how they threw that in there. That was fine. But the battle again fell short.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the way.
I mean,
the way it went and stuff. And again, going back and forth, because again, this timeline, again, they talked about fate before, and this timeline was set to go a certain way. So of course, as the battle goes on, we get a couple cool scenes, couple cool moves and stuff. You got the drop kicks, you got the cyclone, you got phasing, into people to kind of jack them up. So it was great, classic Flash stuff all around. But when it got down to it, we just got kind of a brute force fight with the Kryptonians, and eventually we get Supergirl, who gets dispatched, and the way she got dispatched was, it wasn't as epic for me. It was kind of like a, shank, and that was it.
It was like a prison scene.
Like that was
but
it.
If you think about Man of Steel and the Kryptonian battle in Man of Steel, that entire fight was epic. The entire scene. If you did not like Man of Steel, you liked that fight scene. You did. It was great.
It was a great fight. So,
but we skipped the fight scene that you liked. The Batman, the Michael Keaton coming down in the shaft and fighting all them folks.
So again, you made a good point. When they came in to get cars for that, Michael Keaton had a fight scene, real quick, using the classic batarangs for that. Like, he's an older guy. He's still getting it in, and I love it.
He's got to use his equipment a lot more.
He's
got to.
He's definitely using his equipment. So, but like we talked about in Ben Affleck's fight, the warehouse fight.
That warehouse fight scene is still by far the greatest live action Batman fight scene ever. This one was good. Don't get me wrong. This one, for Michael Keaton in a non-mobile bat suit, and I'm going to forever say this: if you got to turn your body to look at somebody, that's not tactical. It's not. Yeah. But he did great. I liked how they had him taking out the Russian soldiers with most of his batarang. Like, he come down, batarang everybody, and
batarang, a couple grapples and some kicks. Like,
grapples was great. It reminded me of the Arkham City games. Because that's the combo you, and you grapple them till you kick them, and then you just throw them all over. That was great.
Using the cape, the shield, and stuff like that.
That was new. I was not expecting a bulletproof Batman, but I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, that is something that they definitely pulled back in. Like, it was shown a couple times before in different Batman series, but his cape has always been useful to him. So seeing him use it in that way was absolutely fantastic for setup.
Like when he jumped out the bat plane and just started flying, Arkham City all over. I was like, I used to do that all the time.
Speaking of the bat plane, the nice rotation that bat plane has, and so
that was a gyroscope.
It was a gyroscope.
He didn't do that at first.
No.
For those who don't know, Batman sat and it was only his seat because the flashes behind him would, like, when he would hit a turn, the plane turned, but he didn't. So he just sat there and he was like, yeah, okay, I'll do a little turn. But then it would start spinning, and then the flash behind it was doing that. But he was just sitting there like, yep. Because the big Kryptonian jumped on his ship, and so Batman put it in 360-degree roll, and it was doing this. Oh, I love that. That was so hot. I loved it.
Eventually, no matter what they do, we still have Kara and Bruce. Like, they die.
They die.
Like, there's nothing they can do. They die. And this is what drives Barry to the point is like, no, we have all the time we need. We can fix this. And again, he starts to run back, and Barry 1's got to chase after him. And that's a really great
Flashpoint animated, because in the animated movie, Barry that was in the past ran back to try to stop his original self from saving his mother, which also happened with Grant Gustafson. He did the exact same thing. We come to find out that Grant Gustafson's future self was there fighting Reverse Flash, and Reverse Flash's actual plan was to kill Barry and not the mother, but Grant got there to save himself. That's how his mother got killed. But then the other Barry showed up when Grant was like, he's like, no, don't. And that's when he had to let his mother get killed, so it wouldn't be a flashpoint. But that's me watching.
So hey, all this is coming full circle, and again, we're getting all these nice little tidbits and stuff. But as they go through, and again, they catch up, they both decide like, all right, we'll try it once and stuff like that. So they try it once and stuff, and they fix it, and again, still die. So when they do it again, that's when you see Barry 2 can't let go, and he's just like, no, we got to do it. He gets injured in the process. He actually ends up killing.
We got to also say that while he's doing this, you can see more Kryptonian metal getting, like, he had a sickle in his arm from where Zod stabbed him, but then he came back again. He had one in his hand, and his shoulders started, and you could see the transformation of him becoming
the Dark Flash that we saw punch earlier.
Yes. So Barry is his own worst enemy, basically.
Yes. So basically, all this stuff is coming full circle, and because of this and the constant ripping through reality to change things and stuff, you see the reality start to crumble. So imagine it kind of like an opera house and stuff. Like you're on their center stage, and everything is kind of coming in and crashing down. So as the memories and stuff are flowing, as they're kind of rolling everything like a tape, you see holes start ripping in and opening up, and that's when you see the different worlds. This is where we get
world. I fanboyed hard.
This is where he fanboyed.
I fanboyed so hard. I started calling out people's names, and he was looking at me like, "How do you know this?" I was just like screaming.
I knew how he knew it. So go ahead. What are the cameos?
So you had one of the ones that made me fanboy hard because him growing up on Michael Keaton. I grew up on Adam West and Christopher Reeves. Those were but I also grew up on George Reeves' TV show. They had him there. They had Helen Slater, who was the OG Supergirl. The very first live action Supergirl movie was Helen Slater. If y'all don't know her, look up Billie Jean King. That was another good movie from Helen Slater. You had the goofy ball Nicolas Cage, who was arguably the worst actor next to John Wickman. I don't like Nick Cage. He looked goofy in the Superman costume. I will say the CGI here started to fall back a little bit. It wasn't as good. It reminded me of She-Hulk and the CGI.
It was a nice callback though to the Spider story that was scrapped a long time ago.
They also, when they showed the Adam West, I missed it at first, but then I went back through and I thought about it, and they actually had the original Batman was Lewis Wilson. And Lewis Wilson world collided with Adam's West world. So they were merged together like that. Y'all also had Teddy Sears from the Flash TV show as Jay Garrick before he turned into Zoom. I think that was it. That's all I remember because I'm old.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of great stuff being shown.
And we're just talking about that one scene. Those are when worlds collide.
This is everything crashing in and kind of seeing.
It was a lot going on.
It was a lot
going on.
It was a lot. Visually, it was a lot. Like, again, we saw it in IMAX, so very visually freaking appealing. You're able to see everything clearly. I think that they said it very well, and you had to have that confrontation, that standoff, and that realization, because eventually that Dark Flash came out and confronted Barry 1, as Barry 1's trying to, figure out what's going on, and Barry 2 already took off again to go fix some stuff. So now you got Barry 1 versus Dark Flash, and Dark Flash is, whooping up on him. He's drooling out the side of his face, like he is like.
And that's because, as I was telling Will about the light spectrum, if we notice, Black Flash was purple. That's the fastest one. That's fast as you can go. That's it. There is nothing higher. Well, there's one higher, but it's not on the spectrum, and that's Godspeed. Godspeed is white. So with Dark Flash being purple, and that's the top of the spectrum, and white is higher than that, you can imagine how powerful Godspeed. I mean, he can't be in two places at one time and it'd be the exact same person. So we can understand how hard it is to fight Godspeed. But with Black Flash being at the top, then you have Wally West as Blue. Blue is stronger than Barry at red, but Barry is also high end red. because you also have Reverse Flash who's red, but Reverse Flash is lower than Barry in speed. I mean yellow, not red. I'm sorry. You know that Barry's yellow, and then Reverse Flash is red because he's reverse, and the reverse of red is yellow, but he is still low end red.
Mhm.
And Kid Flash would be red. He's the slowest. You know, him, Impulse, all the kids, because they haven't gotten faster. That's why if you're watching some of them in the movie, Barry sometimes goes blue because he's accelerated. But then Barry 2 went blue because now he's starting to master his powers.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
just the spectrum. It's just like Green Lanterns. Green Lanterns have all these different colors, and you know, some at the top and then some are the weaker ones. Same thing with the Flash and the Speed Force. You have different colors that shows you how powerful they are. So with Dark Flash being purple, Barry was out of his league. Barry couldn't touch this guy.
Yeah, he whooped off on him real quick, and it took for Barry 2 coming back to kind of come in and kind of help for a minute with that, but it's more or less a distraction. Like Dark Flash, you know, he still had the upper hand. Like he was still about to tear into everything.
And we got to think he's been doing Dark Flash has been doing this for years. While they were standing there, he was still out there going.
Yeah, like he's old, decrepit, drooling. Like he's been on it, but he's not like again he hasn't lost a step, pun intended. Like he has been on one. Yeah. So when everything's set up and it's just like, all right, well, how are they going to solve this? Eventually, Dark Flash kind of solved the problem for them. Because again,
trying to kill Barry 1.
Barry 2 sacrifices himself, so Dark freaking Flash ends up killing himself essentially. And because of that, and with the time paradox and they're in the chronosphere, so like that, like there was no coming back, there was no healing. It was like no, that was like almost instantaneous. Like once he hit him, like he started disintegrating, like that was it. That broke the timeline.
He killed himself because, as they said, Barry was the fixed point. Every timeline has a fixed point. In this timeline, it was Barry. That's why they could not save Supergirl or Batman, because no matter what they did, Zod was coming. He was going to destroy this world. That was just it. So once Dark Flash dispatched him himself, Barry came back to what he thought was his reality. But we already know Flashpoint Paradox, it worked the exact same way. Flash might have fixed what he did, but now the future has changed. Yeah, it's a whole new branch.
Yeah, so things are different. So of course, but again, he still intentionally did this thinking that he was doing right. And that's where the problem came in, because he went back fixed it. Because the whole thing started with him officially went back just to change out, you know, just to make sure mom didn't forget the tomatoes so she wouldn't die.
And that's what happened.
Skewed all this up. So when he went back to fix that and say goodbye to mom, so to speak, which seemed like that was going to be fine. That was going to be all right. Didn't like that was going to really change much of anything.
It's Barry.
But it's Barry. He's still kind of messing up. So again, moving the tomatoes from the middle shelf to the top shelf to cause his dad to look up, to be seen on camera, to later have him exonerated, was the part where he messed up again. And it's changed things.
His mother still died. But now his dad's out of jail because Brucewayne and his technology finally was able to clean up the surveillance camera. Because in the original timeline, he never looks up, so you can never see his face. And once Barry changed that, and now he's like, where's the tomato? Oh, there they are. Clean shot of his face. Now he has an alibi.
Yep. So now he is free and clear out of prison and stuff like that. But now we have to see what has changed in the world. This is where we get to James Gunn's universe and what he's going to do, because things are different now. And I had a conversation with a gentleman that, you know, he said that's it, it's over. Like this is the end of the movie. There's no more thing going on. I'm like, no, I don't think this is the end. It's with that. It's still open ended right now because they closed a lot of loops and stuff, but it's still open ended because you still got Blue Beetle. We got to see what happens in Blue Beetle if that has any effect whatsoever, and we have Aquaman too, because at the end of this timeline we see Bruce roll up to talk to Barry, and when Bruce gets out the car, this is not Ben Affleck. This is the one and only freaking Batman.
It's not the one and only. It's the worst Batman in the history of
live action. It's the one and only.
The worst Batman
is George Clooney, who steps out the car.
I hate George Clooney.
And Batman. He is Batman in Vision. He is Bruce Wayne. So this is it. So we have George Clooney in this universe, which begs the question. So, like, does this make Batman and Robin? Does this make this canon at any point in time? Is this now canon in the universe?
You know what? I now hate this movie.
Is this
or
is this freaking a solo freaking George Clooney solo Batman, where that's still another skewed timeline, another skewed piece of spaghetti, and this is just Batman?
Every DC universe has a Batman that's been established.
Yeah,
this is not what I want. I wanted Christian Bale to walk out.
And again,
I took Val Kilmer.
Look, we talked about that. Now we know Val Kilmer freaking
but he don't look like.
I hope everything goes like well with Val Kilmer. We know he's going through some stuff, so nothing but the best for Val Kilmer. But
I wanted Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, I think, would have been nice to have. The thing that's different about that is, one, Christian Bale's Batman is a darker tone. Now, I think it would fit. I think it would fit. Don't get me wrong. I think it would fit.
Answer me this. It would make more sense to have the Dark Knight movies now canon to the Flash when James Gunn is going to make darker movies.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
because that George Clooney can't be worse than Adam West garbage.
So yes, I think it would have worked because they're going a lot darker, and again, they're going to Gods and Monsters and stuff next. So Christian Bale would have fit perfectly. Fine. No,
you already got a great Bane that's been established.
Like, I completely agree. Like, it would have worked.
Joker has been established.
But the only options right now would have been Christian Bale, George Clooney, Robert Pattinson.
But you couldn't do Robert Pattinson because now Flash is too old. You couldn't do Robert Pattinson.
Flash is too old. So that's the thing, though.
Unless you CGI Robert Pattinson to be like 27.
It depends on it's the skewed timeline and stuff like that. It's just how everything is. So Bruce could have been something completely different. I don't know. I got to think through it a little bit. So that it's possible that they could have made it work. I don't think it would have worked out as best as having an older Batman to kind of guide him.
I think it would have been better to have
Christian Bale would probably been the best choice.
But like you said, it might have been issues with the money.
But again, it's money issues could play a factor. Christopher Nolan may play a factor because again, Zod wasn't coming back without blessing from Zack Snyder. If Zack Snyder did not give his blessing for Zod's character to return,
then they probably would have did Thomas Wayne.
Shannon would not have returned, and it would
they did the war.
Yeah, it'd been recast or the war. Like there were other things for that, but again, it's a setup because we get a little peek Henry Cavill in like a little CGI type thing. The Superman that's saving the world is a faceless Superman. We just see the back.
But it's his outfit.
But it's his outfit though. So we still get Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck. So it's just like, okay, we got options here. What are they going to do with it? So everything is just kind of set up. So as the movie goes on, movie closes out, we actually get one more end credit scene. And the end credit scene we have is Barry explaining the timeline and everything that happened over some alcohol, over copious amounts of alcohol.
Yep.
That Aquaman has imbibed, because it's hard for Aquaman and Barry to get drunk. And
Barry wasn't drunk. Aquaman was hammered though.
Aquaman was gone.
And then they was walking through the bar and he was slurring speech and he fell into a pool of water and just laid there. And we were like,
this is my home.
Because first we was like, is this Aquaman or is this just some drunk guy that Barry thinks is Aquaman? But then he went face down in the water and just laid there and started breathing. It was like, okay, that's Aquaman.
Handed some Atlantean treasure. Hey, go get some more beer. Like,
yeah, just go get whatever you can with that.
This is our, like, he seems unchanged. This is our Aquaman. So, but that also that sets up for Aquaman 2 and whatever happens going forward. So we can still have Aquaman 2. Flash can make an appearance in there if necessary, and we can see,
because now they've been established. But I still don't want George Clooney.
Again, this is what we got. So
I'm not accepting that. You're not going to give me the worst Batman.
I'm not going to tell you to accept it. I'm going to tell you what it is.
I'm not going to accept this.
So again, but they don't have to have Batman anymore. If they they can change it up and stuff and do whatever they want to establish other characters and get other stuff situated. So that could just be like a homage to George Clooney and just like, hey, let's try to get him. Or they may give him one more movie. Maybe he make an appearance with that to kind of redeem himself from his movie.
How are you going to redeem that movie?
I don't know. I'm speculating here. I have no idea. I have no.
You're trying to trigger me. It almost worked. I caught myself right there. Made my skin itch.
But I got nothing else. What about you? Like, I think
I mean, overall, I know it might not mean much if we compare them to the other DC movies, but I think this is the best live action DC movie to date. I still think Shazam and Aquaman are top tier. There are not too many else. Maybe the first Wonder Woman you could put in the conversation, but I think the Flash movie is better than all of those.
Yeah,
I hated I hated the Superman. I hated Man of Steel, except for the Kryptonian fight scene. I love that. I didn't like Batman vs Superman at all because Dark Knight Returns. Come on now. Speaking of Dark Knight Returns, Heath Ledger was the only reason that movie was good. So hate me all you want. It's facts. Take him out the movie. The movie's trash.
I mean, look, Dark Knight was fantastic, but
Heath Ledger was fantastic.
Yeah, Heath Ledger was fantastic. I love him. I miss him. Like, that was great. But again, we got new kids on the block. We got new stuff going on. The movie was great. Again, go see it. By all means, check it out. Come back to the comments. Tell us what you think. Tell us your thoughts and opinions and stuff if you haven't already.
Tell us how much Iron Man sucks.
You shut your face. So that's all we got for this one. By all means, again, let's say check it out. Make sure you're subscribed. At that, again, that little button down there in the corner and stuff like that. And we're going to talk about more of this stuff as it goes on. And when we see Blue Beetle, we're going to come back and see how all this lines up together. So with that,
I will say that trailer did look hot.
It does.
I will say, look, and I only watched it because it popped up on the screen and I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It did look pretty good, but I'm not going to watch anymore. I'm not going to watch any more trailers.
Nothing else. So that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys.